Hi, today I want to talk about how the recovery journey from trauma can be a frustrating process. We all want things to be an upward trajectory in the same way that when we get on a plane, we expect it to go up to about 50,000 feet, stabilize, and only drop when we approach the airport, our destination. We don't expect it to go up and down along its path. But the recovery journey is different. It is a frustrating, sometimes, journey of 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 1 minute on the mountaintop, the next in the valley, some weeks or even months on a nice plateau, and then another trigger hits and you're plunged down again, but then you come back up. It can be tumultuous. And it's very easy for us to decide to give up. It's too hard, especially as we are soft 21st century citizens who aren't used to toiling. If you think about it, a few hundred years ago, especially when people lived off the land, they were at the mercy of the elements and the seasons. And they knew that if they planted something, they weren't going to get it for dinner that night. They had to wait for nature to take its course before they'd be able to benefit from the rewards of that day's toil. It's similar in that way to the trauma journey, the recovery journey. We sow seeds along the way. We hear new bits of information, we have a trauma therapy session, or we read a book, or we happen to meet someone who's a little bit further on our journey. However it is, we come across information and knowledge that empowers us, that will give us an epiphany, a revelation, and move us forward. And then, because we're dealing with the episodes of the past, something will spring up from the past and trouble us again, and we'll seem to float down. But one thing that is vital to our recovery journey is perseverance and hope. Hope, as I like to say, is the vital ingredient in the cake mix of recovery. Without the baking powder, nothing rises, and without hope, we end up with an unedible cake. God, my analogies are all mixed up. I've been on my recovery journey since I was 50, and I'm 65 now, so 15 years. Prior to that, my journey before getting diagnosed with CPTSD was diabolical because I was misdiagnosed for 28 years with just anxiety and depression. And I had all sorts of antidepressants thrown at me, many of whom, I should have been hospitalized for when I tried to come off them because the side effects were so terrible. I'm sure many of you can relate. Trauma wasn't even mentioned by my GP or even by my CPN, and not even by my psychiatrist at that time. However, 15 years ago, I came across a trauma-informed therapist who led me not only into wonderful therapy, but also into reading great books and articles and following certain people on Facebook and Twitter who could lead me into the knowledge I needed in order to gain recovery. But it hasn't been plain sailing. We don't all of a sudden, when we have our first therapy session or even our first year of therapy sessions, find ourselves walking on solid, stable ground into a recovery journey that brings about great freedom. It is a time of discovery, exploration, opening up Pandora's boxes even, and it can be difficult. For me, my negative conditioning, my traumatic conditioning was so deep that at times, prior as well to after my trauma therapy and being diagnosed with CPTSD, I could be triggered so badly. And even before I realized they were triggers, I could be triggered so badly by past trauma, by flashbacks, by nightmares, by intrusive thinking, that it led to breakdowns. And it led to me needing to be on benzodiazepines, strong ones like lorazepam, to which I got addicted for a while, 3 years. So it isn't an easy journey. It isn't for sissies. It's for 21st century farmers. And what I mean by that is people willing to toil, people willing to have seeds planted, winter to seemingly hide any progress, spring to show the first budding and nurturing of new roots, and then summer when fruit comes. As an example of what I've been through and what I still go through, I mean, recently, and I've come a long way. I don't want to make out that trauma recovery is slow in the sense that there's never any progress. Progress continues even when we sometimes are going through the worst times. It's progress. And I'm at a place now, 15 years on, that I never, ever thought I would reach. I thought I was too damaged. I thought I'd been through too much. The conditioning was too deep, and I was the one exception to the rule. I was never going to find healing. But to my wonderful surprise and my deep ups and downs, I've come through into a place where I'm freer than I ever thought I'd be. However, the onion, another analogy now, the onion of trauma is made up of many, many, many layers. And we peel one off and another one is exposed. And we peel that one off and another one is exposed. But let me tell you that eventually you get to the place where you're nearer the heart of the onion and many layers have gone. But there's still layers to go. But they're easier to deal with because you have a deeper understanding and you've developed a deeper resilience. This poem that I want to read you, it's not really a poem, it's a piece of prose that I want to read you. I wrote in October of 2021 when I was going through a terrible layer of the onion. And when it is that you've been on a lovely plateau for a while and you've walked in your recovery to that point quite happily, and then suddenly there's a trigger from the past going, excuse me, we really need to get rid of this layer of the onion too, because we don't want to leave you only half healed. We want you all the way healed. So you're going to go through a bit right now, okay? And it's not pleasant, but it's good, right? So I went through a really nasty time of dealing with a trigger that was so deep it took a industrial digger to get it out of the soil, uproot it. And at that point, going through that, I wrote this. And I want to read it to you because I think I'm an excellent writer. But because everything I've written at times of hardship, when I look back at them, I realised that there were also times of hope. And I'm hoping it will encourage you. So here goes. It's called, surprisingly enough, Recovery Journey. A muted waterfall falls on the rocks inside of me. A silent sobbing. I dare not cry out loud, for should I start, I fear I'll never stop. I want to sink my face into a pillow and weep 40 years of pain, but I will not cry out loud, for should I start, I fear I'll never stop. I've been walking, it seems, forever, so to stumble once more on debris that belongs in the past feels like failure. I get up again, find fresh stability, and continue forward. I will not quit. I will not stop moving forward till I'm all the way free, till I'm all the way there. No matter how long it takes, I believe in recovery. So gird your loins, ladies and gentlemen. Gird your loins. It's not an easy journey, but believe me, it's worthwhile. Take care.